I love your theories. You know, I love to pick your brain, little brother. You always come up with the greatest stuff. And yeah, mine is I've always been so curious about the structures on the face of the moon and on the dark side of the moon. That has just always been something that's always ran through my mind like, you know, wildfire. It's just like so amazing. What made them then, you know, because there's so many different talks, brother. So here's another one. So do you think, I've heard about, you know, some people say reptilians made the moon. Some people say it was the Dracos. Some people say it was the Greys. So here it comes, little brother. Give me something.
Well, from some of the things I've been blessed with, I certainly would say that the reptilians or the Dracos had some kind of position in Earth. And I would say that the moon, I've talked about these incredible technologies, these consciousness activated technologies and these certain stargates that seem to be created on several cycles ago. That there is an interesting species called the Toctoborians, which is the frog race. You can see these very much in Asia. But from what I understand, this species, they live on a very long lifespan. So an average lifespan for them is on Earth years is 800,000 to 1,000,000 years. Now think about that, you know. So just one cycle on Earth, you know, for their species, you could almost class that as puberty, you know, for a human. So I believe this is an ancient technology, and it was certainly brought here at some point. And you brought up a very interesting point, actually, that there are many stories. The Greeks speak about this with the Arcarians, the Native Americans, and many tribes. They speak of a time when the moon arrived. So this is, you know, at some point this moon wasn't here. And we're talking about anomalies of the moon. I mean, for number one, like the shape of it is perfectly round. And we can certainly look in our solar system, Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, many other planetary bodies and their moons. None of them is perfectly round. They're quite potatoed, and they're quite, you know, they're quite made naturally. But our moon is a perfect round. And actually, another interesting thing about it is that it's 400 times smaller than the sun, and it's exactly 400 times away from Earth to the sun. And that creates this incredible experience that many of us have probably witnessed before, which is called an eclipse. And of course, being on the consciousness of Earth is quite normal for us. But if you look even in our own solar system, for it to fit perfectly with the mass ejections around it, this, you know, you calculate this, and suddenly this is like, the one planet that's full of consciousness, this seems to happen, you know. So I mean, I wouldn't say, I've heard many stories about the Draco had some part on that, and we know about, many of us have heard about the Soul Trap, which is part of the moon. And the moon, the moon has many functions. One, I would definitely say it was brought at a time where there was probably, you know, there was a lot of water, some great flood was happening, and it was a place in there to calm the water down. And certainly, you know, even mainstream people would agree with me on this, that if the moon wasn't in place in that perfect orbit, it's highly improbable that much life could evolve. It would be a very low level of consciousness. But also another interesting fact about the moon is it blocks the frequencies, you know.